The Revenue Mobilisation, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, is reportedly considering an upward review of salaries for political office holders. By its enabling act, it's charged with determining the remuneration of political office holders, including the President, Vice President, Governors, Ministers under Sections 84 and 124 of the Constitution.
When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed reins in May 2023, plans were initiated to review the remuneration. However, the move was suspended in September of the same year due to economic challenges. Speaking at a press conference in the nation's capital, Abuja, on Monday, Mohammed Shehu, chairman of the RMAFC, said the salaries of political office holders are not in tune with current realities.
Well, in the words of the chairman of RMAFC, paying the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1.5 million naira a month with a population of over 200 million people was a joke to the country. But the timing couldn't be more controversial. With inflation at record highs, unemployment surging, and millions of Nigerians struggling to afford basic necessities, this proposal feels like a sponge to the gut.
Joining us this morning for this discussion is Public Affairs Analyst Nelson Ekujimi. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good pleasure.
All right. Before we get into the conversation, let's share with you what Nigerian presidents have earned monthly so far. So you can take a look, and if our producers can display it. So we see here from 1999 to present. President tenure monthly basic salary, you can see the division there. So starting from President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2007, 1,171,568 naira. Now this was based on the RMAFC structure introduced in early 2000s, monthly basic salary and consolidated allowances. Now move to President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, 2007 to 2010, same salary. And then to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, 2010 to 2015, same salary. Still moving on from President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, we can see the next president, of course, President Muhammad Buhari. Now it increased slightly to 1,250,000 naira monthly basic salary. And Buhari voluntarily cut his total salary by 50% in 2015. This will then bring it down to maybe shortly definitely under 750,000 naira. And now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from 2023 to present is earning 1.5 million monthly basic salary and consolidated allowances. Now, they've asked for an increment of the president's salary, saying that you can't imagine that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be earning 1.5 million and that the number of ministers are earning under $1 million. These are the basic, consolidated allowances. But Nigerians, of course, do not believe these figures. You don't believe that the president is surviving on just 1.5 million. That aside, from an ethical standpoint, can leaders justify pay raises when over 130 million Nigerians live in multidimensionally poor societies?
Well, thank you very much. I think the mandate of the RMAFC is very, very clear. And its mandate is to review the salaries of public office holders. And when you are talking about the salaries and emoluments of public service holders, you talk about the president, the vice president, the governor, the deputy governor, commissioners, ministers. So if you are looking at the economic reality and in view of the mandate of that institution, but the last time there was a salary review by that institution was in 2008, and the Constitution gives that institution the power to periodically review the salaries, the emoluments of these public office holders. If the institution in its wisdom has discovered that there is need for a review in line with the mandate expressed in it by the Constitution, I think it's a step in the right direction. Don't forget, even under our law, the Nigerian workers have the right to have their salaries and what have you reviewed every 5 years. And we have seen it being done under this administration. So if the institution is waking up its responsibility of reviewing the salary of the work of the public service, public office holder. Sorry. Then I think it's like keeping to one mandate, because the review could be upward and it could be low, it could be downward. But in this case, the RMAFC have said it is going to review it in line with present economic realities, and that is in tandem with its mandate. So I don't see anything wrong in what the RMAFC is going to do right now.
It's in tandem with its mandate, like you said, and we really can argue with them. But looking at the economic situation in the country right now and the timing, and also looking at the personality and person of Mr. President, who is a successful businessman, has done very well for himself in his private life, and looking at the optics this might bring at a time the country is battling debt and fiscal instability. Is the timing right, or should this have come later when, you know, the WTO Director General said the economy is stabilized, when there's more, when the mood of the nation is more palatable, perhaps?
Well, the fact of the matter is that the Constitution did not specify what time the RMAFC should, carry out its function. It didn't see, the Constitution did not specify that if you look at when the economy is stable or not. The mandate of that institution is to review the salaries of public office holders. And I'm sure that review is not about the person occupying the office of the president. It's about the office. And when you are talking about the review of that salaries and emolu, it is not only Mr. President, no matter how successful he is. There's the vice president, there are the governors, the deputy governors, ministers, commissioners, and what have you. So it is not about the person occupying the office. It is about what is, appropriate for that office. Whether the president is a trillionaire is irrelevant. You just, leave out the fact that former President Muhammad Buhari, cut his own by 50%. That, okay, this is what I'm doing. I just want to take home 50% of it. If Mr. President in his wisdom decides that, because right now Mr. President cannot stop, he doesn't have the constitutional powers to stop that institution from carrying out its core responsibility. It is not for you to say, okay, this is what I'm worth. Okay, this is what you have reviewed my salary to be, because that is not within my purview to review. You are the body entrusted with that responsibility under the law. Okay, I don't want to take any of this. Keep that money or whatever is due me. I want to forgo it in the interest of economic realities of what Nigerians are going through. It's all well and good. But for me, I am a person who believes in the rule of law. And if the law has stipulated this is the way to go, I won't allow emotions, sentiments, or blackmail to deter me from following the law, because it's the right thing to do at every point in time.
Okay, Mr. Ekujimi, you've said it's the right thing to do. And we're very sure that, while we're trying to have this conversation, your name popped up for the reason that you followed very closely with this administration. And I'm sure that you've equally followed closely with looking at the reviews which we're discussing right now. But does it make any clear sense, of want of words, if I put it this way, that you do have the doctors who are seeking for a salary review? You also have other persons who are calling for a review in their salaries, talking about the teachers as well. I'm sure you are aware of the police officers as well. And these are just the three I'm going to mention. As a public affairs analyst, one who has been at the forefront to also highlight the key policies that are positive to Nigerians from this administration, don't you think that this is coming at a wrong time? That's one. And secondly, do you also think that if the presidency or the governors and so on, who also receive largesse in terms of they have extras to get cars, house accommodation, which the doctors and the police officers don't have, do you think they should at least hold on this and sort out these other ones before they review and go for theirs? Or you think it doesn't matter, the doctors should, wallow in pain while they review their salaries? Just to get your thoughts on this from a personal point of view.
One, I don't think this review is inappropriate. I think the mandate of the RMAFC must be executed in tandem with the provisions of the law. And as a human being, I believe strongly that a laborer deserves his wages. So if the doctor's salaries, the security agency's salaries are under a template, and we feel that template is not appropriate enough, it is for us to advocate for a review to make it more appropriate and more suitable and make life livable for those involved. The security agencies, the personnel there, or the teachers, are not public office holders. They have their own structure. And those who have come up with that structure, you know what they were doing when they came up with those structure, and when they accepted to be a teacher, or to be a doctor, or to be a security personnel, you know what you were going into. So I don't believe one should be stopped for the other, because these are all human beings. These are people who have different responsibilities. So if a doctor's salary is on a scale that we Nigerians, and they have made us aware, and there is a body in charge of that responsibility to review their salaries as at when due, it is for us to join the clarion call and say, look, we have to improve their living conditions. You know, what are they aiming? Oh, we need to look at it in terms with a global best practices. But to say because somebody is a teacher or a doctor, and that we feel, because I've not seen a doctor come out to tell us that, what they are earning is below par. And as even as we speak, there are persons who are even earning far, far below that.
Sorry, we have doctors.
We have doctors.
Mr. Ekujimi, if I may interrupt, did you say we don't have doctors who have said that what they are earning is below par?
I've not seen doctors come out to say that. If they have any issue, just a minute.
Okay.
If they have any issue with what they are earning, it is within their salary structure. I don't think it is below that. But what I'm saying is that if we feel, if the organization or the institution charged with reviewing their salaries, assesses it and feel that this is what should be done, the Nigerian Medical Association is there to interface with whatever organization is in charge of the salaries and emoluments of doctors. It is not for one man. It is not about one man coming out to strike. If it is about the organization, the Association of Doctors, coming out to say what you are earning is not at par with what our counterparts earn in other parts of the world, or we are overstretched, we need to do this and that. They know the appropriate authorities.
Okay, so we had the National Association. Mr. Ekujimi, can I give you a bit of context to that? We had the former first vice president of the National Association of Resident Doctors on this show when they had given a 21-day warning strike to the government, talking about the fact that there were so many unmet demands, one of which was remuneration. For the longest time, it has been a repeat pattern here to see doctors going on strike, resident doctors going on strike, and the main thing that they have gone on strike for is salaries and allowances. Now, if we go back to the St. Lucia incident when there was the possibility of exporting some of our medical professionals abroad to earn a certain sum, when the conversion was done, it reflected that those who were going to work in St. Lucia were going to earn more than the doctors that were here in Nigeria. That, again, elicited a lot of criticism from the medical field, with the Medical Association releasing a press statement condemning that action, saying it's undermining the doctors who have stayed back at home. Because at the end of the day, we keep seeing them. It feels like we are exporting our doctors, not voluntarily, of course, but because they're looking for greener pasture. So I do not think that it is fair for us to say that we haven't seen any doctor who has come out to they complain all the time. The doctors, the nurses, the midwives, they've all had strikes consistently, complaining, and yet nothing has been done about that. I just wanted to, put that out there.
Let me also put this back to you, that these same doctors or nurses or what have you in the medical profession, you just said it's unmet demand. So if there's unmet demand, this means there has been an agreement somewhere It is not that they're asking for something new. That an agreement has been reached somewhere, and those demands were not met. So it is for those who have not responded appropriately to those demands that were agreed on. That should be to listen. So if you are comparing Nigeria to St. Lucia, I'm sure you know Nigeria is not St. Lucia, and the economic realities in St. Lucia cannot be the same in Nigeria. I remember at a point in time, some persons were comparing the salaries of an average worker in Nigeria to that of South Africa. And a lot of us came out and said, no, you can't do this comparison because the economic realities in South Africa is not the same. You know how much it costs to rent a room in South Africa? What you use to rent a room in South Africa, you use times 100 of it to rent a room. What you cost you to rent a room in Nigeria, you use times 100% of it to get a room in South Africa. So the economic realities are not the same. But what we are saying is that every institution, every profession has its own template. And if that template has not been reviewed, it is for us to call on the practitioners there to come to a round table and ensure that justice is done to everybody. It is not for us to say because a footballer, for example, the Falcons and the V-Tigers got some largesse from the federal government, and somebody now say, oh, let's say, well, what about the policemen? What about the night security man, the brigade in our local environment? They should also know they are doing different jobs, and they are templates for their job, for their job as well as for their reward system. So it is not for you to take one reward system and use it as a template for another profession or sector of the economy. Everybody lives on his own life. So if you feel the review of the president, the public office holders, it will not be done, then you are telling the RMAFC, to violate its law, which will amount to a criminal act. And if we are a country,
Mr. Ekujimi, you just said something down, that if we're telling the RMAFC not to review the salaries of the lawmakers, a criminal act. So who makes it a criminal act when the government has also failed to review the salaries of the Nigerian medical practitioners, which ought to have been reviewed since a long time ago, many years ago? Who should be held responsible? And then again, I want to ask you, what is the priority? What should be the priority of the government? Is it to review the salaries of lawmakers while telling Nigerians to tighten their belt, or to review the salaries of those who ensure that lives and properties are indeed safe and, of course, bearable? Or which are you putting first?
The priority of government is the safety and welfare of the people. But in doing that, there are institutions of state that have been established to carry out specific functions. So if these institutions of state are living up to the billing, I think they should be commended. And if you have seen any institution of state abdicating its responsibility, then that can be condemned. I remember vividly well under former President Muhammad Buhari, when the review of salaries took about a year or plus, far beyond what it should be, when it should be done. A lot of us came out and said, no, under the law says every 5 years. And this administration has even said it's going to do it every 3 years. So we must hold them to their words. We must hold them to, obeying the tenets of the Constitution. So I would say because the public office holders are the one now, in the public view with regards to the review of their salaries and emoluments and what have you, then I'll say, oh, they don't deserve it. No, absolutely not. I told you earlier on when we started this program that a laborer deserves his wages. If the RMAFC has been set up to review the salaries, emoluments of workers, it builds on it to carry out that responsibility. Because not every public office holder is a millionaire or a billionaire. And again, when they are signed into that office, there is an institution responsible for reviewing their salaries and emoluments. And we must allow that institution to do its job. If there are other institutions elsewhere, starting with the responsibility of reviewing the salaries and emoluments of other workers in other sectors of the economy, and they have not done that, it is for us to try and make them wake up and do the needful.
Now, Mr. Ekujimi, are you worried that this revised salaries could have an effect on the cost of governance in Nigeria because the Nigerian 2025 budget is already stretched and all price assumptions have exceeded market realities? The IMF is also suggesting that we need a budget recalibration and that the government should also do expanded cash transfers to the most vulnerable of Nigerians. So are we in a situation to absorb this increase?
Well, the RMAFC has told Nigerians that this review will be done in tandem with economic reality. And I'm very sure the RMAFC will not just sit down in its office. I'm sure there are experts from various sectors of the economy that will be, that will be assessed to arrive at a template. And talking about this review, we don't even know what is the quantum or the percentage of the review. And for me, it's just like when I see someone say, oh, the cost of governance. I can tell you for free, a lot of us that come out to mark cost of governance, we don't even have the facts. We are speaking from a position of assumption. Because when you talk about somebody who has employed, or a governor, for example, who has employed about 100 special assistants, and some persons are complaining, my answer to such persons is that, look, by employing 100 of our people as special assistants or what have you, he has helped us take those 100 out of the labor market. He has helped us take those 100, he has helped us make those 100 to be responsible to a family, to some friends, to give us stipends. So we should not look at it from the point of view because even when we are talking about the cost of governance, those Nigerians that have been employed, don't they deserve the right to give? Then you're talking about the IMF telling us to recalibrate our budget. Yes, the IMF can offer that advice, but you can be sure that Nigeria is a sovereign country. We will take that advice and look at it based on the existing socio-economic realities. For example, it could be because of the fact that the budget that we made in 2015, maybe in January, that we have not been able to meet up with our major cash cow. That is the crude oil. You remember that the NNPCL has just told us that for the first time, I think it was last month, that we were able to meet up with our OPEC quota and even exceeded it, producing about 1.7 million barrels per day. As we speak,
all right.
They are trying to show up production. So if you have based your budget on an expected revenue and you have not met that revenue target, definitely you don't even need someone to tell you that, look, you have to cut your foot according to your plot. That you have expected to produce maybe 1.7 million barrels and you have been producing 1.5 million barrels. Definitely there will be a shortfall with regard to meeting your expenditure, because it is from the revenue and other sources that you take care of the expenditure.
I'd like to interject
comes out and tell you to recalibrate. That is the reality of ground. If your earnings is below your...
Mr. Ekujimi, we have to go now. Unfortunately, we have to interject because we have to go now, Mr. Ekujimi. But we thank you for joining us. We'll continue to follow up with the updates regarding this and see what the next steps are. But thank you for your time with us this morning.